This episode of Greenhouse Grower to Grower is brought to you by Westbrook Greenhouse Systems, a trusted North American leader in complete greenhouse solutions. From structures and heating to curtains, benches, and full installation, Westbrook delivers systems built to perform and built to last. With a team known for long-term expertise and reliability, you can trust Westbrook with your next greenhouse project, whether it's glass or poly, open roof, or freestanding. Learn more at westbrooksystems.com. Connect with them on LinkedIn or visit them at major industry shows across North America.
Welcome to Greenhouse Grower to Grower, the podcast where we're shaping the future of floriculture, one conversation at a time. We talk with the growers, leaders, and innovators shaping tomorrow's greenhouse industry today. From market trends, next generation plants, and innovative production, to the challenges and breakthroughs redefining what it means to grow. I'm Brian Sparks, editor of Greenhouse Grower. Let's dig into what's next together. AmericanHort's Plug and Cutting Conference is an every other year event that dives deep into young plant production and is a must-attend gathering for anyone involved in this part of the supply chain. In this week's episode, I'm joined by Rachel Rawls and Alejandra Feliciano from AmericanHort, as well as Tchakarov and Juan Ponce of Metrolina Greenhouses, to talk about this year's program and what attendees can expect to learn. And because the conference will be held in Philadelphia, we also talk about history and cheesesteaks. Here's our conversation. So for those listening to this, we wrapped up Cultivate a little over a month ago, but we are turning right around from that into AmericanHort's next big event for the industry, and that is the Plug and Cutting Conference. So I'm joined today by a group from AmericanHort and then a couple of growers who are involved in the panel as well, or in the program as well. So want to get started with, from your perspectives, Rachel and Alejandra from AmericanHort, plug and cutting. So how do you determine the location every year? And then, why do you choose to go every 2 years with an event like this?
Yeah, thank you for having us on, Brian. We
Sure.
really appreciate it. The timing is very intentional for it to be every other year. Young plant production, it's always changing, but it takes time for new research and technologies, any production practices and challenges to emerge in a meaningful way. So holding the conference every 2 years gives us time to build a program that really feels fresh and relevant to
Sure.
everyone, with new ideas and practical takeaways that the growers can bring back to their operations. I think it also helps us stay focused. We can look at what growers are facing at the moment, whether that's labor or automation, any plant health or input costs or production efficiency, and just helps shape education around the most timely issues. And then, of course, in the years between plug and cutting conferences, AmericanHort, offers other important programming like Impact Washington, for the fly-in, for example, in Washington, D.C. And I think that gives growers another valuable opportunity to engage with the industry in a different way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And
yes, Alejandra, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, as far as how the location is determined, because you asked about that as well.
Yeah.
Um, because Cultivate is always held in Ohio, we see plug and cutting as an opportunity to bring American hort education and networking to different parts of the country.
Sure.
Because our membership is nationwide, as you know, so we intentionally look at regions that we haven't visited recently. The last plug and cutting, I believe, was in Florida. Um, so this time around we have it in Philadelphia. So the other thing we focus on is the quality and variety of our tour stops.
Mhm.
So we look at our member list in different regions and young plant growers that are doing unique work that attendees can learn from. And then finally, it's the logistical part, right? We want several strong tour locations within reasonable driving distance of one another and the conference venue as well, so that the participants can spend their time learning instead of sitting on a bus.
Well, that's what I like about an event like this. It's clearly, a mix of, in the classroom education and then also hands-on education. And as you said, getting a chance to go out, visit some operations in person, see how they do things, and hopefully learn a little bit along the way as well. So, that's a very important, I think, educational component to an event like this. What types of attendees do you try and bring into an event like this when you do it?
Yeah, the audience for this conference is really, anyone who's involved in young plant production and wants to improve how their operation grows and moves crops around and stuff. But, that could include propagators, growers, production managers, operations leaders. I think it's especially valuable for people who are moving into those roles that have greater responsibility. Maybe they're managing a crop area or leading a team, or making any of those production decisions, which makes them start to think more about, costs and labor and quality and efficiency.
Yeah.
Um, One of the more important parts is that this conference isn't really just for anyone with like one specific title or level of experience. The young plant production, it touches so many parts of a greenhouse operation. And so the strongest attendees are often people who are both like technically curious and
Yeah.
practically minded. So they want to understand more about how to grow better plugs and liners, but they're also thinking about system improvements or how to support their teams and make better business decisions. One of the things that we are doing at Plug and Cutting, which is very similar to what we did at Cultivate, we're still using American Hort's knowledge levels of core, pro, and lead. And
Sure.
that helps the attendees identify the right fit. But for this event, that sweet spot is really the pro to lead audience level. So that's people with a really strong production foundation already. And these people are ready for a deeper technical education, some peer learning, and leadership focused takeaways that they can bring back to their operation.
Well, and I was looking at the educational agenda for this year, and it's like, I mean, it's clear that, there's always something new to bring to the table each year as new tools become available for growers to use, whether it's data management or automation or just knowledge that comes from continuing to evolve as an industry. That each year, every other year when this event takes place, you can see the level of education continuing to increase more and more. Um, with that in mind, I want to bring in Yvonne and Juan from the Metrolina team to kind of get your perspective. I know you guys are both involved in the program this year. From the perspective of Metrolina, really any other grower who's bringing folks to this event, what sort of value do you and your team bring and then take away from an event like this?
For somebody like me that have been very closely involved with that program for the last 20 years, I find extremely valuable for our attendees and what they bring it back to our company. So every time we try not only to participate, but we're part of the panels or anything we can do so we can bring Metrolina knowledge and give back to the industry.
Sure.
What looking for new, we're looking for unique. Every grower, every company we work with, we're gonna meet there, have a different way of handling the same challenges industry has, and
Okay.
quite unique. So like I always said, we've learned what to do and what not to do. So either way, at the end of such an event, we'll know better and we'll know more about those two things. As far as peer exchanging, to me, this is probably one of the most important part. All the people that building the foundation of the industry, which are the plug and liner growers, at least most of them will attend such an event,
Mhm.
which that will be able to peer exchange ideas or to show project that we have worked on for the past 2 years that industry or in their case individuals can take care it can carry back to their respective facilities.
Yeah.
I think the most rewarding part of this for me is the opportunity to share what we have learned at our company with others. Uh, Even though we're a big industry, we're a small industry, we're a family industry, we all share a common goal, which is to grow better plants for the consumer. And the only way we can achieve that is by close collaboration between all of us. So as we competing for business, we're not competing for knowledge. We're sharing that knowledge. And even though 100 people in that room can hear the same recipe, they'll be executed different way, which give us even more open doors to share, because from execution, from actually knowledge standpoint to execution, it's not the same. It's a facility, it's a environment, it's time of the year, is by whom is run and when it has been done. So that opened that additional door and make us feel a lot more in ease when we share in the information.
Sure.
Even though you have everything in PowerPoint in your hand, it comes at the end to execution and follow through, which were not all the same. Juan can add to the learning opportunities because he's been part of that part a lot more closer for the last 5 6 years, and he had brought something that I never even thought of it, the Spanish speaking part of the business.
Yep.
As getting a lot more guest workers, and as we're relying back to that side of the business and people that are not necessarily uh, proficient 100% of English comprehension to come and help us to carry those day-to-day tasks. So that's where the next step of education comes, and that's what Juan is bringing to the table. And I'm really happy that he took initiative and he's showing the industry there's multiple ways to help each other, and there's no borders for learning and knowledge. So I'm gonna let him actually carry my last sentence and explain a little more about his passion of doing that.
Yeah, I wanted to hear from you on. So what are your thoughts on that then?
Thanks, Ivan. Yeah, thanks for having me here today first. To complement what Ivan is saying it, I'm gonna start saying it. The growers trust growers, and this is what it is about it. Like Ivan say, we build connections. We go through the same challenges, and it's not better to hear from other growers that they already find ways to go through that one that happened in the same event. I always see the plug and cutting conference as the next level. Is more advanced. uh, I, as a speaker, I put myself on a higher level on the talks that I do there in the plugin conference, because I'm a specific group that is looking into the young plant growers, and I want to be sure I got all those details, because when we talk about growing young plant plugs and liners, details are crucial, and I
Sure.
gotta be sure I got enough time during those talks to do that one. At the same time, we are building connection with a group of people. The beauty about this, and Ivan say, and Rachel as well, and Alejandra, it is to connect, to get with other growers. One thing about the Hispanic group that I like it a lot, and I share it, is a lot of times Hispanic, and not only Hispanic, American speakers, that they show up for first time. All of us, 5 of us here, we got experience. We know what to do. We're got pretty clear when we go there, which class we're gonna attend, which trade show we're gonna walk through, and all that one. But a new employee, well, a new employee, no, I'm sorry, a new attender that will come to this event will be lost on that one, and they need us for that. And I think American Court is doing a good job, and that's one of the things that the Hispanic group has been working, is a lot of Hispanic speakers don't feel like they are uh, sometimes lost, because they got not what I just explained that a new attendant will have. In plus of that one, they got the language barrier
Yeah.
that will create some, like, they don't know how to interact, and there's some vocabulary that they won't go well, and they just stay quiet in the background, being unnoticed. Bringing that group in front is going to help us not only to get them feel comfortable, create one environment for them that is more towards getting involved, engaged, and learn and teach as well, because some of them, they already are pretty smart and know what they're doing it, because they've been doing this for many years. Also, we're gonna open it for new attenders as well. This is
Yeah.
a way to see that one, and that's what I think we offer on the plot conference. That is hard to offer on cultivate, because when you get to cultivate, is huge. I mean, all of us know how big is that event. Now, when we come to the plotting conference, we're gonna be able to get more with each other, and get those groups that we need to get together and connect, and get the relation that we need with other groups.
Yeah.
I think that there isn't putting a lot more emphasis to such an event because it's like a line of conference and it is, and it is foundation of our business. So what we can do in the first young stage of plant production define the outcome. So that's why I'll continue being a supporter with my team, because I truly believe that if we have a good start, there's a lot more better chance to have a good finish. It's all about basis. It's all about building a foundation for something you can see within a month, 2, or a year blossom and goes to the consumer throughout. Yeah, that's why those conferences are so important, and those educational classes are so important to continue building that foundation that can give us that next step and to be able to build on. Yeah.
Well, if you look at the agenda, I mean, it's impressive that as you said, it's built right from that start to finish. So you look at, you know, the variety selection process and how to make sure that you're growing the right plants all the way through to maintaining quality throughout that young plant phase, to using the technology, the emerging technology and the tools that are out there, using internal data systems to help you measure what you're doing in the greenhouse, and that all leads to the benefit of the entire industry as well. Going back to the program, we talked a little bit about some of the Spanish language content there. So, are there topics that you might double up on, where you might hear a similar presentation in English and then in Spanish?
Yes, Alejandra, you wanna? I will cover a little part on that one, but Alejandra, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one really big priority for American Hort is providing a strong educational experience in both English and Spanish. So, for this year at Plug and Cutting, our goal was that Spanish speaking attendees have access to the same caliber of education and professional development as the English classes. And you'll see that the curriculum programs really mirror each other, so that the Spanish classes are not a scaled down version of the program.
Yes, we're gonna have that panel in Spanish. That it is the 5 stages for a plug, from seedlings, cuttings to shipping, and they're gonna have the same one on Wednesday, and that one's gonna be in English. And I'm gonna have Jorge and Rupert, and the reason I say my two panelists is gonna be because Rupert is gonna be in the English side with Amy doing the same group panel in English. What is gonna be interesting it is because it's a panel, it's gonna be interaction between some questions that we're gonna have prepared, plus interacting with all the group in the area. I'm very excited about that one because it's gonna be first in Spanish, and I'm gonna be sure we're gonna set up a really good basis there in Spanish, and then when I think the English, I'm already gonna have some expectation built it from myself from the Spanish one. But I think that's pretty good idea to do that in the two languages.
Oh yeah. Well, and just from my own perspective too, I mean, going to an event, whether it's Plug and Cutting, whether it's Cultivate, I tend to seek out those panel discussions because, it's very easy if it's a single speaker on a single topic. I can always reach out to them afterwards and say, hey, let's talk more about what your presentation was. You can't recreate that panel discussion anywhere else than being in the room for that. So credit to you and to the American Hort team for making that a big focus of the agenda for this year. And the other thing I was going to say, to your point, Ivan, I was talking with Abe Van Wingen about this just last week. As credit to Metrolina for, as you said, your focus on sharing information, not just within your team, but across the industry. I mean, it can be very easy for you guys as one of the bigger growers in the country to say, hey, we do things our way. We're going to keep things in house, but you recognize the fact that the industry as a whole can benefit from what you were doing. So the fact that you're willing and open to sharing all that information is really refreshing, I think. So.
Because the leader have said that multiple times over the last 20 years. It's our duty, and we are obligated to share what we can learn to make this industry better. And we'll continue pushing the envelope and helping young growers and other production facilities so they can reach out that next level of success.
Yeah, for sure. When you look at this year's Plug and Cutting conference again, so is there anything specifically different about this year's event other than the other tours obviously being focused on that area and those locations, but anything unique about this event? And I'll ask that from the American Hort team's perspective, that attendees going to need to know before they arrive to Philadelphia for this year's event.
Yeah, I know that Alejandra and I have a couple of things that each of us are excited about that's different this year. One of the biggest additions this year is the amount of on demand education
Okay.
that we're offering. We've doubled that content and it's included in your registration. So we love that because attendees can continue learning beyond the sessions that they attend in person. So
Yeah.
we're really excited about that. We're also incorporating more hands-on demonstrations into the production tours by using skill stations at each tour stop. These stations, they're designed by industry professionals like Suzanne Wainwright Evans, for example. And they're the ones who see the real issues that growers are facing across the country. And so they're bringing that practical how-to education directly to the attendees who are going to be on the tour. So I don't know. I just think that's great because, attendees won't just hear about a production practice. They get the chance to actually see that technique and skill in action in the real operation.
Yeah.
The other thing that I am personally excited about, we're excited about the Longwood Gardens tour.
Oh, sure.
We've built enough time into the schedule so that after all of the organized portions of the tour, attendees can explore and enjoy the gardens on their own. And it really adds a special experience to the conference and gives attendees another reason to take advantage of the tour.
Oh, yeah.
And I say thanks for Rachel for putting that tour so well, because one of the things when I saw in the website for a Plug and Cutting conference was the greenhouse that we're gonna be visiting on those tours. And we got Lucas that is being known by the technology, but then we got North Creek that I want to see a lot of the biologicals, environmental, and crops that they have. Is Suzanne talks a lot of things about them, what is good, and then we're gonna have another two greenhouses, the Star Roses, and I think Lone Wolf that I want to learn about those ones as well. I mean, putting that together, that was pretty well done in my opinion, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you, Juan.
Yeah, I'll concur with Juan's thought that it's definitely an impressive lineup. And to your point, Rachel, about the on-demand part of it too, I think that's especially critical. If I'm at a company where I'm either the only one attending or it might be me and one other person, and I look at the agenda, it's like, well, there's so many things I want to, be a part of, but I can't be in terms at the same time. The fact that you can make that available to somebody after the fact, I think is really important at the same time.
Yeah, and both Rachel and Alejandra mentioned about the peer exchange, and even we build this into my next uh, piece that I'll be responsible for presenting. I think this is the way to go for the future. Most of the presentation to include not only the technical part, but to allow the audience to even further engage into conversations. I think that really helps to, first of all, to relay the message to ensure that presenter understand and relay information that is quite practical, but also give opportunity for everybody that comes to listen to such a presentations to be part of those solutions and to be given a voice rather than a question and a response. So continue with this peer exchange model at the end of those presentations are crucial for our further developing and our further mix and mingle and learning from each other type of sort of things.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hey, Brian, I got a tip for all people who is listening us here, all in our business for the classes. For many, many years, I was thinking like there is so many classes, different rooms at the same time, overlapping. And I was thinking it was challenging because there is so many classes that one person wants to attend and learn as much as they can. But this is the reason why, and I kind of tell the upper management for any company in this business to send more than one person from the company, because that's what it makes it so unique. I mean, I already learned, and I'm already with Ivan, Carlton, and Sam, some of the people that is attending from Metrolina, in some classes that they overlap, that they're very good. We just select who can go to this class, to the other class, collect the information, and then build something together. And I suggest for more companies, instead of send one attendance, send multiple people, and that way they can work it that way. That's kind of my tip.
Okay.
Solution for American Ford for last 3-4 years is learning on demand, right? We have those reportings that we can come and we can share it with our team as well. But like Juan said, our company strategy is divide and conquer. So we're gonna come up with 3, 4 people on our team, and each one of them gonna have a specific agenda topics which we decide before attending. Everybody will take care of, and then we're gonna recap and we're gonna send one big follow up for our team.
Okay. And I know, Alejandra, I know that there's a little bit new on, specifically on the Spanish side as well, that you were going to mention.
Yes. Yes, thank you so much for giving me the chance. There's something new this year that I wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of. On the Spanish language side, we have a new activity this year called Recorrido por la Expo. It's a guided walk through the trade show floor, specifically for new Spanish speaking attendees. And this is a really fun activity because the idea actually came from one of our community connector groups. So it makes it especially meaningful because it was developed in response to what members of our community told us would be helpful. So the recorrido will be led by one of the leaders of our Spanish advisory committee.
Okay.
And they're going to be helping attendees get familiar with, the show floor, understand what resources are available, and overall just feel more comfortable navigating the experience because we know that attending an industry event for the first time can be a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot of exhibitors, a lot of people, and a lot of things happening at once. So, and navigating all of that in a language that may not be your first can also be another barrier to getting the full value of the experience. So for us, this is about more than giving people a tour of the trade show. It's about creating a welcoming starting point and making it easier for them to ask questions and take advantage of everything the event has to offer. Because ultimately, we want our Spanish speaking attendees to feel that this event was designed with them in mind and that they're truly part of the community.
Well, honestly, anything that you can do to make an event like this more, more welcoming, more comforting, more engaging for any attendee, is better. I mean, I remember the first time I attended a plug-in cutting, and I think I was blown away. But it was the production and institutional knowledge everywhere I went, and everywhere and everybody that I talked to was, you know, it was very overwhelming for me coming into it. So I can imagine anybody else coming in for the first time. So to make that experience, as inviting as you possibly can, I think is critical. Um, as we start to wind down the discussion a little bit, want to just get your perspective, Rachel, on anything else that somebody needs to know before they make plans to make the trip to Philadelphia this year. I'll put in a personal plug on the personal side for cheesesteaks. You're in Philly, so you're in cheesesteak territory. I have my favorites, and that's a whole separate discussion we could probably have. But beyond that, anything else that anybody needs to know about attending plug-in cutting this year?
First of all, I would really appreciate a Philly cheesesteak list. If you've got one, I'm going to put that in the show notes.
Of
I've
course.
also heard that all of the like historic candy and chocolate shops are nearby. And so I am super excited to explore those as well. One thing I'd like to say just before sharing some more of the conference details, we've got a lot of networking opportunities that we haven't really talked about yet. You know, at breakfast and lunch during the expo, education sessions will pause and meals will be served
Yeah.
in the exhibit hall. And so I just really encourage people to take advantage of opportunities like that. That's where you really get to talk to people about the sessions that you were just in, or a better chance to talk with some of the exhibitors in, a less formal setting. And so I would just really encourage people to attend those. And we also have networking opportunities in the evenings once sessions end.
Sure.
Just like a reception hour after on the exhibit floor as well. And so, um, we want people to feel welcomed and encouraged to attend those. It's just a really great opportunity to chat with people at the end of the day. The conference itself, it'll be held at the Sheraton Philadelphia downtown from September 14th through 16th. And the best place to find all of the details about registration, the full schedule, the tours, any additional information you might want, people should visit AmericanHort's.org/plug. And just another reminder, registration includes that access to the live conference experience, including the education, the trade show, and the networking opportunities, as well as that on-demand package of the select sessions that we're recording live at the event. The website is the best place to look at all of the latest
Sure.
information. So that's what I would recommend.
And if you're listening to this, we'll have all the information on greenhousegrower.com as well. And to your point, Rachel, I mean, and anybody who attends Cultivate knows this as well. Sometimes the best knowledge sharing doesn't necessarily have to come from sitting in a classroom or talking to, a vendor at a at the trade show. It could be sitting down, as you said, for breakfast, sitting down with somebody that you've never talked to before and striking up a conversation. Next thing you know, you're learning something new. That person is learning something new, and the idea sharing continues to expand from there, I think. So that's a great point that you made about, using those, breakfast, lunches, dinner, evening receptions, using all those networking opportunities that you can to share ideas. So, well, I want to thank all of you for being in the discussion today. Plug and Cutting, it's always a great event. There's always a ton to learn. Come with your team, come to prepared with a lot of notebooks, or whether it's, I'm old school, so I bring the actual paper notebook. Some people bring their laptop, but whatever, be prepared to learn a lot. And, again, thanks to Rachel and Alejandra from the American Hort team. Thank you to Yvonne and to Juan for joining me to get the grower perspective and the educational perspective as well. So looking forward to a great event this year.
See you there.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you for joining us. You can learn more about this and other topics at greenhousegrower.com, and you can also follow Greenhouse Grower on LinkedIn. Please subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, and please leave us a rating or review as it helps other listeners find the show. The Greenhouse Grower to Grower podcast is produced by the team at Meister Media Worldwide. I'm Brian Sparks, editor of Greenhouse Grower.